Okay, in today's session, we'll see how to set the invoice approvals. We'll see how to set the invoice approvals. Now, in yesterday's session, we created invoices. There is no limit for the user. User can create invoice with any amount, and user can validate, and user can just perform the accounting final that any amount of invoice can be processed for the payment. Now, we'll see how to set the approval so that once the invoice is approved, then only that can be processed for payment. Okay, we'll see that process here. If you look into this Excel, here we have a point as here we have one sheet for BPM. It's nothing but business process management. The invoice approvals we can set through BPM. Okay, so we'll have some quick discussion on that. Yeah, fine, Gaurav. Sure, we'll discuss. Not an issue. Yeah. So in today's session, we are going to talk about invoice approvals. Okay, invoice approvals. To set invoice approvals, okay, we have one middleware application called as BPM. BPM stands for business process management. Okay, BPM stands for business process management. By using the BPM applications, we can set the invoice approvals. Fine. On what base we can set invoice approvals? Okay, there are different possibilities. What level, what base we can set the invoice approvals? We'll see those points just for quick understanding. We can set invoice approvals job level, employee job level, employee position level, resource based approvals we can set resource wise, employee wise, and you can set approvals kind of supervisor approvals, and you can set approvals based on management chain, and other option we have as a approval groups. Okay, on these basis we can set approvals for invoices. One is job, the other one is position, the third option is resource base, and fourth one is supervisor base, the fifth one is management chain, and sixth one is approval group. Let's try to understand what exactly these levels. Okay, when you talk about job, what we can do is for each job, every employee will have a job in the organization, right? And when somebody is working as an employee in the organization, they'll have a job. So you can set job level. You can say for so and so role who is playing, just say buyer, this is the approval limit, and accountant, this is approval limit. This is how you can set job level. Or else you can set the approval limit at position level, so that if you set at job level who has the job, for all the employees the same limit will be applicable to approve the invoices or any other activities what they are doing in the respective department. If you set at position level, so say for example I'll go and set the position level, manager position approval limit is 1 lakh. In that case, the how many people have the same position in the organization, all people will have a permission. I mean, all people will be able to approve the invoices or any other transactions with respective amount. Of course, we'll be setting in the system that limit should be applicable for which business, which transaction process and all. If you take example of invoices, so the same position who has, okay, all the people will be able to approve the invoice up to 1 lakh. And resource means for specific employee also we can set the approvals. For particular employee, what is the approval limit and all. And supervisor means here there will be some relation called as employee supervisor. If an employee is trying to approve the invoice, if the approval limit is not within the employee limits, system will be routing that notification or request for approval to the, the employee supervisor, means to employee, say manager. And management chain means you can create some approval management chain as per your business process required, and accordingly you can route the approval process across the approval chain, whatever you can maintain as per your requirement. The other option is approval group. You can set up, you can create the approval group. Say we have employees called as employee 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now what I can do is I can group 3 employees, 1, 2, 3 employees. For those 1, 2, 3 employees, I can set the approval limit as say $10,000. And other 3 employees I can group as another approval group. For that employee group, I can say what means for first approval group I am setting up to 10,000. The other approval group I can say more than 10,000. Means within the 10,000, first approval group people will be able to approve the invoices. More than 10,000 means that those invoices should be submitted to other approval group. We can group the people. For a group of people we can set the approval limits, so that within that limit they will be able to approve. That's how we can set the different level of approvals based on business requirement we can set in the system environment. Okay, so in our case what we'll do is, okay, again if you talk about job position and all, resource supervisor and all, again that is some part of HCM related kind of definitions need to be done. Instead of going with those HCM definitions, what we'll do, we'll go with the approval groups. Okay, we'll go with the approval groups concept to understand how approvals can be set up in the system, finally how the process will work, how that notification will be routed, and complete process we'll see now. So before we go and do the configuration, we'll take simple case study, the simple example here. So what we do is, already we have an employee called as TCS USA. We have an employee, and we'll create one more employee, TCS. So here I'll take as a user. Okay, here of course just a user based employee names we are giving, but just for our understanding, we have already one user, or else say employee. TCS USA is one employee login, so just I am calling it as a employee. So we have a TCS USA as one employee or user, and we are going to create one more user called as TCS user. But these users will be associated with the particular employees, definitely, because when you create these definitions from HCM, these will be associated with the user names, will be associated with the employees. So that is the reason, just let's call these user names as employee. Say we have one employee called as TCS USA, other employee is TCS super user. Now the requirement is, say for example, for TCS USA employee, I want to give the approval limit. Say I'll say for example rule name as same or less than, say 50,000. Okay, the employee called TCS USA can approve the invoices if the amount is same or less than 50,000, and if invoice amount is more than 50,000, those invoices TCS user can approve it. Okay, or else TCS user employee can approve it. So this kind of rule we are going to set in the system. Okay, this kind of rules we are going to set in the system, and accordingly will be mapping to respect to employee. Okay, we have 2 employees. For first employee TCS USA, we are going to set the condition as, okay, 50,000 or less than 50,000 can be approved by TCS USA, and if invoice amount is more than 50,000, that those invoices need to be approved by TCS user. Fine. On that base we'll go and do the setups. If you want to do the setups in the system, first what we have to do is, so we have to create the approval groups. Now simple, we'll create an approval group. So with approval groups, what we can do, we can group the employees. You can group the employees, multiple employee, or else within the approval group you may have only one employee, right? So now what we do is, we'll create one approval group for TCS USA. I'm not going to group multiple employees into approval group. I'm going to create the approval group for each employee, whatever we have now. Okay. So just we have two employees only. This is the case we are executing based on the configuration. We are going to create, first we'll create the approval group for TCS USA employee, and we'll create one more approval group. Okay. We'll create one more approval group for TCS user. Already we discussed what are the limits we want to give and on what condition based. The same we are going to set up in the system. So from where we can set up the approvals in Fusion environment, we can set up the approvals from BPM, Business Process Management. How to go to BPM? Now we'll see. Okay. First we'll go to BPM, then we'll define these two approval groups. Before creating these two approval groups, I think we don't have this user. First we'll go and create the user. What activities we are going to do, just let me list out. First we'll create TCS user, or say TCS user employee, anything you can call. Okay, just check this here. Create TCS user means that employee. Then what we do is, to this user we'll assign the required roles. If this user is going to work on the payables, we know what data roles we have to assign. Then say assign AP data roles to user. Done. After completing this task, what we'll do, just we'll go to BPM. In the BPM, first we'll define these two approval groups. Then say create approval groups for the two employees. For each employee we are going to create one approval group, but we can have more than one employee also within the one group. But okay, fine. First we'll create the TCS user as a employee. I mean, we are going to create the, just we given as an employee name, TCS user, and we'll assign API data roles to user. Then we'll go to BPM and we'll create the approval groups. After creating the approval groups, by using the BPM workflow, you can set up how that approval process should work, and we'll be having some node concept called as nodes and all. We'll discuss about that. Okay, first we'll complete these setups, then we'll discuss on that point. First we'll go and create one more user. Already we have TCS USA employee, and we'll create one more user called as TCS user. So these has to be created from HCM. Okay, so go to navigator and to select manage users. Manage users, then say create. With the employee name you can give, say Rajesh. Some name you can write, I mean email ID you can provide. Then what is your desired username for this employee? Just now we are discussing the username is TCS user. Let's give this name. Okay, this name will be mapped with the employee called as Rajesh. You can uncheck this because we don't have any notification set up. Select person type as a employee, same process, and select legal employer. Our legal employer name is TCS USA legal entity. Select it and select our business unit, TCS US business unit. Now you can say save and close. Okay, we created one more employee. Now for this employee we have to, okay, for this employee we have to assign the data roles. So to assign the data role, task name is manage job roles. Then just click on go to task. There we'll find the user and what are the three data roles we have for payables. We can assign, if you don't want to assign three, just at least you can assign one called as manager data role. Payables manager data role you can assign, or a supervisor, anything you can assign, because those roles, even manager or supervisor, will have a access to function called as invoice creation. Anyway, from this user we are not going to create invoices, since this employee will be working on payables process. For that reason we are going to assign those data roles. Otherwise, even if you don't assign data roles, also system will be sending the notification automatically. Okay, just click on administration. Username is TCS user. So username is that, actual employee name is Rajesh. Just go to roles tab. Same process, we know this very well, we did multiple times this activity. Okay, just click on assign. Then search for roles. Say just give the name as payable or BU name. TCS US business unit. Yes, we have three data roles. Those you can assign, but it's not mandatory you have to assign these data roles. Based on approval configuration, okay, if there is any need of sending the approval notification to this user, it will send automatically. But let's maintain these rules for this user also. Then you can set the password for this user. Okay, then just click on reset password. Of course we are going to just set the password, it's not resetting, but this is the function we have to use. Say something. Just confirm the password. And we don't need any email notification. Okay, just say reset password. Then we log into this user and we'll we'll set the password. Okay, then this user will be ready to use. Then just log out. Okay, these two users are created from the function called as HCM user definition. That means you can understand these two users are nothing but employees only. Okay, These two users got employee association. Okay, so done. Now you can log out from the current user. Let's try to log in as a TCS user. Okay, fine. Just give me 1 second, please. Sorry. So just enter old password whatever you entered at the time of user creation. So that is just Oracle. You can set up new password. Done. Now just if you forget the password and all, you can just answer to these questions, and based on that you can reset password yourself. For that reason, just you have to provide this information. Okay, just 1 second, it's taking time. Yeah. Okay, okay, select other question. Okay, just you can fill up those answers with respect to questions, then submit. Now we have two users, means we have two employees. Okay, as per our case study, now we'll go and do the setups. Okay, done. Now you can log out from this user and we can log in as a our TCS USA user. So we created this user and we assigned AP data roles to user and we reset the password and everything is ready. Now we'll go to BPM. Okay, how to go to BPM? It's very simple. Just go to user, select task called as setup and maintenance. Here search for task called as manage approvals for financials. Just manage approval. Okay, here manage approval. You can give the full name as already just system is showing the results. Manage approve groups for financials. This would be the actual task name. Okay, task name is manage approval groups for financials. This task will take us to BPM, business process management. Okay, this task will take us to BPM, business process management. Just click on this go to task icon. It will take us to BPM. First, what we have to do, we have to create the approval groups. We have to create the approval groups. In each approval group, how many employees we are going to have? Only one employee. Okay, fine. We'll create two approval groups for two employees, so that whatever we discuss that can be tested. Okay, so to create the approval group, here just click on this create approval group icon. Hello.
Sir, one quick question here.
Yeah, please.
For testing purpose only, we are creating one group having one user in it. In real life, we can have more than one users also per group, right?
That depends. They can have one or multiple also. That's up to company requirement. There is a possibility, I'm telling. Approved group will allow multiple employee grouping. Okay, as per
Okay.
business requirement they can create it.
All right, sir.
Yeah, so just click on this add icon to create the approved group. So here you can give the name. Okay, the approved group name also I'm just giving as a username only, or else I'll say approved group for TCS USA. Okay, just give this name, then click on this add, and here search for your user. Already user is associated with the employee. Search for user called as TCS TCS. So TCS USA, right? First we are creating the group for TCS USA. You can select this. Just select the radio option and say OK. Then just click on OK. So approved group is created. That's all. This is how we'll create the approved group. Then save it. If you want to add one more employee into this group, just click on add and select the employee, or you may call it as user. Then that will be added within the group. In the same way, you can enter, you can select multiple employees into this group. The group name is approved group for TCS USA. Then click on save.
So, sir, in case I have multiple users in my approval group, so
Hmm.
how will the approval really happen?
All users will we are what we discuss upload group level. We are going to set the limit. What are the limit we are we
Right,
are
sir.
we are setting, that will be applicable for all the users. Please see, after asking the question, I request you to mute yourself, because otherwise we are getting kind of noise. Yep. If you have any question, please.
Sir, adding on, let's say I have assigned a approval authority to a group, right? Let's say an amount. Let's say 10,000 rupees I have given.
Okay.
So I want to ask, let's say if I book an invoice after that, so will is it like anybody from that group can approve that?
Yes, yes, yes. Anyone.
Okay. Notification will go to everyone,
Yes,
and
yes.
anyone in the group can approve that.
Exactly, exactly.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Then just click on save. Okay, done. We created one approved group. We'll go and create one more. To create one more, just click on create approved group. This add icon we have, and here we can give the name as approved group for user TCS user. Then click on add. Click on the search. Search with the TCS. So this is the user or employee you have to select. Then save OK. Then save it. So now you can see here we created two approval groups. Okay, we created two approval groups. Okay, done. Now what is the next task? Now we have to set relevant nodes. Okay, to set up that approval rules and all, what we have to do is just click on this task configuration. Okay, hyperlink. Just click on this. Just click on task configuration hyperlink. Here we can see different tasks configurations. Okay, here are the different tasks which will support for different approvals. Okay, these are different workflows also, you can say. Once we just get into that, you can understand. Now we are planning to set the approvals for invoices, right? When user create the invoice, okay, accordingly system has to behave. So for that we have a task called as fin ap invoice approval. You have to select it. Just select this one. Okay, select it. After selecting, you can select this assignees. Just select assignees. So here you can see, just let me just maximize this. Okay, this we call as workflow. Okay, here we have to do the approval setup. This is the workflow which is a part of BPM. Now what happened